Hello there. This is Robert Foley, and I will be speaking as Robert Foley on this great day. For today, this is about a man who has given up his life for others, whose selfless acts have inspired many people to fight for civil rights, for people of color, people of different sexual orientations, different faiths, and different nationalities. We have many great people today, like Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and Nelson Mandela. But today we will be talking about the man who's refused to hate others and to just embrace kindness to others. Before Black Lives Matter was a thing, African Americans used the term, "I am a man," that they are people too, and that no matter what people tell them, that they are people regardless. And that's why I will be happy today to give the I have a dream speech to you, my fellow Americans. Let's begin. 50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. The momentous decree came as a great beacon, light of hope to millions of black slaves who have been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the black man still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the black man is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the black man lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the black man is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself an exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men, as well as white men, will be granted the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note. Insofar as her citizens of color are concerned, instead of honoring the sacred obligation, America has given the black people a bad check. A check which had come back marks insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that bank of justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so we've come to cash this check. A check that will give us, upon demand, the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We've also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation into the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is to make Now is time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of this moment. This sweltering summer of the black man's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. And those who hoped that the black man needed to blow off steam will now be content, will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. And there will be neither rest or tranquility in America until the black man is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice in the process of gaining our rightful place. We must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence again and again. We must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the black community must not lead us into a distrust of all white people, for many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. That they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. As we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall march ahead. We cannot turn back. What are those? They are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the black man is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of highways and the hotels of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the black man's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We cannot be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by stating, "for whites only." We cannot be satisfied as long as a black man in Mississippi cannot vote, and a black man in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. And I'm not unmindful that some of you have come out here of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come from narrow jail cells. And some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow the situation can and will be changed. Let's not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you, my friends. And so, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meanings of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves, the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day the state of Mississippi, A state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering in the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists and its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain. The crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our home. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out the mountain of despair with a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform this jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. And this will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the proligious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up one day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands in singing the words of the old black spiritual. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Martin Luther King Jr. And I get it. You might be saying, why did you replace, what else was in there? A song that I will sing in his name. And for all civil rights leaders, I will sing this song. For the people who struggle in poor neighborhoods, in poor cities, in poor valleys and in poor mountains, poor forests and in poor deserts. I will sing this song as a symbol of patriotism, a symbol of hope, and a symbol of civil rights. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. Sing it with me, my brothers and sisters, for today we will continue Dr. King's work. Together, we'll keep the dream alive. This isn't about politics. This isn't about anything that has to do with BLM or Anti-Defamation League. No. This has to do with what we should have done a long time ago before of these bad atrocities happen, where these groups come in to fight them. And I know that some people might be saying, some people might say they've done bad things, but who cares? Like he said, we shouldn't judge people for the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Have we not learned this lesson? Have we given up on his dream? I have not given up on his dream. I will never give up on his dream until the day I die. And even in death, I will hold that dream close to my heart, to my faith, to my soul, to my mind, to my heart. Rests the mind and soul of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who has fought for what he believed in. That all men are created equal. And to you, my fellow Americans, like I have mentioned, that this man is a saint to both white men and black men, to white women and black women, to white Jews and black Jews, Christian Jews who are white, white Christians and black Christians, white Muslims and black Muslims. Everyone come together in your cities. Wear a mask though. And say this: I am a man. Instead of saying all lives matter, just say, I am a man. Instead of saying Black Lives Matter, say, I am a man. If you say any life matters, say I am a man. All civil rights groups are trying their hardest to keep up his dream. Conservative or liberal, you should take part in helping restore his dream that all men are created equal. No longer we will hate each other. No longer we shall fight. Today or tomorrow, we shall work together to rebuild America. With or without a leader. Good or bad, we should never give up hope. Trump supporter or Biden supporter, stop fighting each other. Work together. Move on. It's best to move on. And if I really want to make America great again, I should focus on helping other people so that they can help others. Like how Dr. King intended. And to those who think that everyone else is inferior, it's not too late to change. There's always a chance to redeem yourself into the eyes of God. You can always become a better person, to accept others, regardless of skin color, religion, sexuality, or gender. You shouldn't give up on anything. Don't give up on the dream, people. And for that, I will continue to carry on his dream until the day I die. That my children will carry on the dream. Their children will carry on the dream. Their children, their children's children, and their children's children's children. They will carry on the dream until we've all become one. I want you to see what many black men have said. I am a man. And I want you to know it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, gay, straight, or even transgender. You're a human no matter what. And that we should judge people on their actions, not on their race, sexual orientation, or gender, or religion. We only judge people by their actions. We judge murderers. We judge rapists. We judge thieves. And we judge racists. But there are some people out there who are racists. And to those who think they can't change, I believe they can. It's not too late to change, to become a better person. If you believe in God, you change to become a better person. Donate to people who are struggling. Donate to civil rights groups. And always remember to love thy neighbor. Whatever they be, white or black, Jewish or Christian, gay or straight, cis or trans. People deserve love. And always remember, I have a dream. I want you, my fellow Americans, the peace-loving, civil rights cherishing Americans, to march in the streets and say, I love you. I will never hate you. I will never spit on you. I will never punch you. I will never kick you. I will never slap you. I will never even kill you. I want you to say, I love you. I forgive you. I believe you can change. Never fall into hatred, my brothers and sisters. Whether be white or black. You are my brothers and sisters of all race and gender, sexual orientation, nationality, and even religion. Because we all believe in God. It's just that if you really believe in civil rights, you'd say, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I love you, my fellow Americans. And please, never forget what happened. Dr. King, thank you for this amazing speech. God bless you, Dr. King. You'll always be my champion, my hero, and my friend.